If you've ever checked your bracket multiple times before tip-off, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Thursday, March 19th edition. We are post-Fed decision. We are post-Micron earnings, which was a mega beat, but the stock's still trading down. And we are at the first day of the NCAA basketball tournament. Now, for those of you that don't care about sports, I totally get it, but that is likely going to impact the market today, as we are likely going to see volume dry up around the halfway point of the day. We've seen this a number of times in the past, including the last several years in a row, and I would expect the same thing here today. Now, before all of that happens, we're going to break down some of the news. We're going to watch what happens here in the pre-market. We're going to come up with ideas, and we are going to trade the high volume part of the day right around the open. So no guests today, plenty of news, plenty of charts to take a look at. And of course, we're going to break down those movers for you. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for March 19th, 2026 begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We are back for another market day here today. And yes, also, we are one day closer to that weekend that I'm sure we're all looking forward to. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces back here today. And we start with Peter, who is first yet again. Good morning, Peter. It's great to see. It's great to see you. Welcome back. Astro Kev, good morning, Benzi gang. I love that Zach's little nickname has kind of taken on a thing of its own. That to me makes me really happy. That's got the community feel that we're going after. Kev, good morning. It's good to see you. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back. Kelly or two, good morning, Ryan. Ladies and gents, indeed, and good morning to you. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Marty, good morning. Welcome back. What's the saying? When others are fearful, be fearful too. I think that's it. Rolling on the floor, laughing emoji. That's not it, but I know that you're joking. No fear here. No fear at all. We're going to make the best of everything. The fact that we are active, I think, is ultimately going to end up helping. You're going to be the first to be able to react to what's going on here. If you're active, it forces you to think about all of the other things that are going on, even when you're not at your terminal. And I think that, or it's at least my hope, then, that is going to breed better decisions. Panicking, on the other hand, or being fearful, never breeds better decisions, at least not in my experience. Producer, good morning. Welcome back. As always, Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. I think it's panic and sell everything. Brian, we already talked about that. That's the Jets mentality. We're going to try and not adopt that here to the market, but it is what it is. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Durkis, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, great to see you. Welcome back. I kind of want to know what happens, but big supporter of law enforcement, so can't repeat that. Marinette, good morning. Welcome back. Hopefully the Lucky Leprechaun putter cover brings some green to the market today. That actually shows up today, so I can't wait to see it in person because it's going to be awesome. But hopefully you're right. Hopefully we do end up getting that. Market's under pressure here a little bit in the pre-market. And when we go over the chart, I'll show you why, A, that's a good thing, and B, it should not be a surprising thing because this is some stuff that we've been talking about for some time here. Tom, good morning. Feeling blessed today. Thanks to you and the Benzinga team for all of you do. Hey, we are making people feel blessed. That is awesome too. Tom, we're blessed to have you back here. Good morning and welcome back. AC, good morning and welcome back. Day Trader, good morning and welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. OA Roush Stage 3 with the side exhaust. Good morning. Welcome back. Linda, great to see you again. Good morning. Welcome back. Lost Penny, same to you. Welcome back. Redman, is it Edman? It's Edman. I thought I saw an R in there and I was like, oh, yeah, the album that you did with Method Man a long time ago was really good. But Edman, good morning. Welcome back. Cameron, let's do this. Love the energy. Absolutely love it. Good morning. Welcome back. We are going to do this. You got that right. Just passing through. Good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Up 30, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Brian's got Duke for the tournament. I think I have them win. No, I think I've got Michigan and Arizona. But I have Duke in the Final Four in both my brackets. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Lion Atlas, good morning. Welcome back. JJ, I already said good morning, but good morning again. Hockey player, love the name. Played hockey when I was younger. Never good enough to do anything with it, but it is one of my favorite sports. What position did you play? And welcome. Kenneth, good morning. Crankbait, good morning. Brian, good morning. Thuy, good morning. G-Cord, good morning. And C-Boogie, good morning. Welcome back, buddy. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures under a bit of pressure after yesterday's Fed meeting, as well as the Micron earnings report that we got after hours. S&P futures here down 0.43% ahead of Thursday's open. Dow futures down 0.36%, and the NASDAQ futures down 0.6%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Materials, consumer discretionary, and consumer staple sectors led the S&P 500 decline on Wednesday as the Dow Jones dropped over 750 points following a new economic report and the Fed remarks, which came off as hawkish. Markets processed the Federal Reserve's widely anticipated decision to maintain interest rates at 3.5% to 3.75% for a third consecutive meeting. Again, leading up to this, we figured that was what was going to happen. The FOMC highlighted that despite solid economic expansion, inflation stays somewhat elevated and job growth remains sluggish. President Trump warned Iran that continued strikes on Qatar's LNG facilities would face major retaliation, while simultaneously signaling that Israel would cease targeting Iran's vital South Pars gas field. Following talks with Trump and the Qatari emir, French President Emmanuel Macron urged an immediate end to the infrastructure attacks to protect civilians and stabilize global energy supplies. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.28%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.8%. The Fed's CME watch tool projections are pricing in a 95.9% likelihood for the Federal Reserve leaving current interest rates unchanged. Oh, this was from unchanged yesterday. This is going to be for the next meeting. I still am in the camp here that we do not think we are going to get a cut, at least until the back half of the year. This was the case earlier, and I think the case for that has just been made stronger recently. That is what we're expecting going forward. So definitely no cut until Powell is out of there, until his successor takes over. But even then, we may have to wait several meetings before we get our first cut. Now, we have several stocks in focus here for you today. And the first one is going to be an obvious one. This is Micron. The ticker on this one is MU, and this was easily the biggest report of the day after hours yesterday. Micron fell 4.01% in the pre-market on Thursday, despite reporting better than expected financial results for the second quarter of fiscal 2026. That is an understatement. I'm about to read you some of these numbers. I mean, it was a huge beat. It expects fiscal 2026 CapEx to be above $25 billion. Now, again, just to kind of clean this up here, Micron's Q2 adjusted EPS of $12.20 beat the $9.21 estimate. Big beat there. And sales were $23.86 billion. That beat the estimate of $19.93 billion. So really, really healthy on both the top and the bottom line. Micron sees Q3 adjusted EPS of $18.75 to $19.55 versus the $11.70 estimate. And they see sales of $32.75 to $34.25 billion. That was versus the estimate of $23.8 billion. Just again, 23.8, and they are saying they're going to see sales, easy for me to say, at 32, a $9 billion, almost a 30% beat above that estimate. Micron sees Q3 GAAP EPS of $18.50 to $19.30. That's versus the $11.95 estimate, and they see the sales is the same figure there, 32.7 to 34.25. So just a massive beat here for Micron, and it's trading down here today. Can't wait to get the group's opinion on how we're going to trade that. The next stock on our list is going to be Rocket Lab, and the ticker on this one is RKLB, and it rose 1.83% after securing a $190 million contract for a block buy of 20 hypersonic test flights with its HASTE launch vehicle for the Test Resource Management Center, cementing hypersonics leadership with the Department of War. The next stock on our list is going to be FedEx, and the ticker on this one is FDX. It was 0.09% lower as analysts expect it to report earnings of $4.13 per share on revenue of $23.42 billion. That comes after the closing bell today. The next stock on our list is going to be Guardian Pharmacy Services. The ticker on this one is GRDN. It dropped 10.06% after announcing a proposed public offering of 5 million shares. The last stock on our list here today is going to be Constellation Energy, and the ticker on this one is CEG. It rose 0.08% after it announced an agreement to sell PJM generation assets to LS Power. All right, folks. Let's take a look at the SPY chart. This is my favorite part. So we have been saying here that we have been sideways for a long time. And it appears now that we are finally making a move down. And I know that the $64,000 question out there is, well, how long do we move down for? Is this a bear market? Is this going to get really bad? Are we going down to the 10% pullback level that's just around 628 on the SPY? What's going to happen here? Where do we go next? Now, the reason that this is important is because today we are actually set to trade below the 200-day moving average for the first time since May of last year. So this is an extremely important moving average. In an ideal situation, as I've said, I would love for us to trade beneath this and then recapture it. And when I say recapture it, I mean fairly quickly, like within several days or several sessions. The other thing to note here is that if we do trade down, if we overshoot this, which is totally possible here today, especially given some of the weakness that we're seeing in the pre-market, this previous low back from November of 2025 may also come into play and act as support. We can look at that there as 652. Now, I love this because Kenneth here is saying, I have the next support level at 652.80. So, Kenneth, I would completely agree with you and your spot there. I would say, just as per habit, I look at these not only as just finite points to the penny, but rather ranges. So that 652 to 653 area, that should absolutely provide some type of support if we do overshoot this here. Now, again, given the fact that I am expecting low volume here today, I would be unsurprised if what we got was a move down here out of the open, maybe a retest of the 200, but we stay below it, and then maybe we kind of level off and trade sideways the rest of the day. Now, tomorrow's option expiration, so although the tournament is still going to be going on, and I still think there are going to be people watching, participating, traveling to that event, we'll see what the options expiry or the witching actually does for stock prices here tomorrow. But as far as where we're at with the SPY, we're finally getting our test of the 200. Now, because we're getting our test of the 200, maybe we even see a little bit of a bounce here. It's possible that we bounce out of the open as we're basically straddling that value right now. But I wouldn't get faked out by this. We definitely want to see this. I want to see two things before I feel confident that a near-term bottom is in. We can make our guesses on what's going on in the geopolitical side and all of that. But what I want the charts to tell me is I want either a capitulatory move down, sometimes aptly called the fill the diaper moment, or I want to see some consolidation where it looks like, we've kind of come in a little bit and now we're trading sideways. We're figuring out the next area that we're going to go to. We're kind of carving out that range and figuring out if we want to trade higher, if we want to break down and test some of those lower levels like the one Kenneth just gave us. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here today. Ultimately, we're going to try to trade the price action here in the morning. I'm not even going to bother with the afternoon here today, full disclosure. But we're going to try and trade some of that price action here this morning. And then I'm going to be very curious to where the candle closes on the SPY, not only today, but also tomorrow. Now, I know we don't normally take a look at the Qs, but Cameron from our group here has been asking for this in the happy hour. And because of where we're at right here, I think it's probably beneficial to take a look at this as well. We got the Qs here down at 591.73. And you'll notice that the 200-day moving average is actually 592.56. So although we focused a lot on the SPY and the Qs were actually a little bit further away from the 200-day, here we go on the back of that Micron earnings. Qs are also trading down here and looking to interact with the 200-day moving average since the same time as the SPY. So the last time that we interacted with this moving average was back in May of 2025. So I think just based on the chart today and then probably tomorrow, we'll see how it all shakes out. Likely to be very important days, or very important candles rather, when they actually fill out this chart here. So would love to get opinions here from the group on where the market is going or where some of these indexes are going. And then of course, how you are ending up playing that. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. BlackRock maintains a constructive yet cautious outlook on the U.S. economy, characterized by a visible global macro shock stemming from the Middle East conflict. While the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has intensified inflationary pressures, BlackRock believes a, quote, feedback loop, end quote, could emerge where political and economic fallout eventually limits the conflict's duration. They note that if, quote, if current crude prices persist for 6 months, we see a notable drag on global growth and boost to inflation, end quote. Regarding the U.S. stock market, BlackRock remains tactically overweight, expressing a clear preference for U.S. equities over their international counterparts. This conviction is rooted in the AI theme, supported by strong earnings, resilient profit margins, and healthy balance sheets. They anticipate the market will be underpinned by continued Federal Reserve easing into 2026 and reduced policy uncertainty. However, they warn that traditional diversifiers are currently challenged, suggesting that the long-dated treasuries no longer provide the necessary portfolio ballast against falling equities in its persistent high inflation environment. Now, we do get initial jobless claims for the week ending March 14th and March's Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Survey out by 8:30 here today, so it's about 13 minutes away. We also get January's wholesale inventories and new home sales data out by 10 here today. All right, let's take a look here at Micron real quick. We'll start with the chart. Here's what Micron looked like. We've been talking about this a lot. Great call by our group for this to actually break higher. That was a recent call. I think that was Lion and several others there. Shout out to all of you. Micron did break higher, but sad trombone, we're coming back in a little bit here. Price in the pre-market is 438. That is beneath the 455-ish breakout area that we just tested yesterday and the day before. And if you take a look at the pre-market, this is what it looks like. So right when we got that earnings report that I read to you earlier, the initial reaction was to pop. This actually took us above or right to the pre-market highs. Didn't quite hit 480. I think you guys had some price targets here around 500, very much in line with some of the analysts. I think 500, 515, 525 were the high price targets there from the analysts. So it looks like you folks all had a very similar one, but here we go. We reported, and now we are trading down here today. So first question, does Micron bounce here today? Very simple. Do we actually get a bounce here in Micron today, a tradable one, for us to maybe make some money on? And then if you want to further complicate that, how long is this bounce going to last? Is this the start of a bounce towards new highs? Do we need to kind of chop around here a little bit, kind of figure this area out? We'll be curious to know what you folks think in terms of the actual trade here for Micron, given that we're seeing a minus 5% move here in the pre-market off the backs of really, really strong earnings. Now, again, let me just recap this here real quick, and then we'll dive into a little bit more insights there. Micron reported financial results for the second quarter of fiscal 2026. They were blowout earnings, as we discussed. Again, the The second quarter revenue was $23.86 billion versus the $19.94 billion. The reported adjusted earnings per share of $12.20. That was versus the $9.21. Total revenue was up approximately 196% on a year-over-year basis. A lot of that has to do with the memory issue that we've been talking about, the increase in memory prices. Operating cash flow came in at $11.9 billion versus $8.41 billion in the prior quarter and $3.94 billion in the comparable quarter last year. Just a massive, massive move higher. The company generated $6.9 billion of adjusted free cash flow in the second quarter. Quote, Micron sets new records across revenue, gross margin, EPS, and free cash flow in fiscal Q2, driven by strong demand environment, tight industry supply, and our strong execution. And we expect significant records again in fiscal Q3. They're basically telling you that we put up a great number here, but we're actually expecting good numbers in the next quarter too. That was not even enough to buoy the stock, at least so far. Goes on to say, quote, in the AI era, memory has become a strategic asset for our customers, and we are investing in global manufacturing footprint to support their growing demand, end quote. Micron ended the quarter with $16.7 billion in cash, marketable investments, and restricted cash. Micron sees third quarter revenue of $33.5 billion plus or minus $750 million versus an estimate of $23.8 billion. The company anticipates third quarter adjusted earnings of $19.15 per share plus or minus 40 cents versus the estimate of $11.70 per share. The company's board declared a quarterly dividend of 15 cents per share, which represents a 30% increase, payable on April 14th to shareholders of record as of March 30th. Now, Micron's stock dipped on the back of this earnings report. Analysts are saying it is supply, not demand, that matters. In the after-hours trading on Wednesday, Micron slipped 4.43% according to Benzinga Pro. Again, down almost closer to 5% now. The company delivered quarterly earnings earlier in the day, and again, they were blowout ones. We already covered the actual number here. Despite the earnings call, Micron execs said that the company is working towards addressing the gap between supply and demand. The tech giant highlighted new facilities in the US, Taiwan, Japan, and Singapore. However, these facilities are not expected to bring meaningful output until next year or later, or a combination thereof. The company also announced that it expects fiscal 2026 capital expenditures to be above $25 billion. Quote, we project our fiscal 2027 CapEx to step up meaningfully to support HBM, which is high bandwidth memory, and DRAM, which is dynamic random access memory, related investments, end quote. Speaking with Bloomberg TV, Wedbush analyst Matt Bryson said the memory is a supply-driven business. He said it doesn't matter how much demand there is, but if the vendors can meet the demand with enough supply. Quote, because you have these long lead times for fabs, we don't really begin to see new supply coming on until next year. And it may even be 2028 before Samsung, Micron can catch up with all the demand from AI. Still have a longer runway. And if anyone wants this or wants to watch that interview from the tweet that's linked here, I'll go ahead and throw that in the chat. You folks can go ahead and do that on your own time. At the same time, Futurum Group CEO Daniel Newman called Micron's results a turning point. Quote, the numbers don't lie. This isn't a cycle. It's a regime change, end quote. That tweet and any of the accompanying stats are also in the article that I just linked there. CNBC host Jim Cramer downplayed the stock slipping after hours. He said, quote, it is not unusual for a stock like Micron to have a blow-off top only come back a few weeks later. It's not worth freaking out about, end quote. So if you play the Cramer inverse game, that sounds like a death blow for Micron. I'm not sure I'm there with that. These memory stocks have been absolutely crazy, and I'm certainly not going to just do something the opposite because that's what Cramer said. But nonetheless, he says, don't freak out. So let me know if you folks are freaking out at all. Just a quick check here for the Benzinga Edge rankings for Micron. They're available in Pro as well, of course. 99th percentile for momentum. Yeah, that's where the momentum is. 97th, almost 98th percentile for quality. Value's not quite there, and no growth score currently. But Micron just an absolute monster. SanDisk, the same thing. And those two outperforming some of the legacy memory players like Western Digital and Seagate. Now, another stock that reported earnings this morning, not last night, is going to be Alibaba. Ticker is BABA. Here's what the chart looks like. Alibaba down almost 5% here on the back of its earnings. And this is notable, at least to me, because we have a recent support area here that we are coughing up. This is 128 and change. I have it marked off here at about 128.80. Current price in the pre-market, 127.85. Now, if we break this, where do we go next? Well, we do have a gap here. I know it's hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in on it, make it a little bit more visible for you. We do have this gap right in here. It's about 129 down to 119. So now that we've broken the support, we are looking at a potential gap fill. But furthermore, we have the 500-day moving average sitting down here at about 115.5. So I would imagine then that the two next areas based on the chart here for Baba are going to be this gap fill and then maybe also this 500-day moving average. Worth noting, by the way, that when we drew this fib drawing here, which I'll get the name right so I don't get corrected, trend-based fib extension, you'll notice that this actually lines up with the 0.786 level as well. So we have a fib level, we have a moving average, and we have a gap fill right here. So now we also have a gap above, right? Because we're gapping down on this move here on Alibaba. So let me know, which gap do you think fills first? The one to the upside or the one to the downside? Maybe we'll have a trading opportunity here on Alibaba. Now, I do have some news about this that we'll go ahead and cover. Hopefully that will help prepare you for it. Alibaba shares tanked on Thursday following a fiscal third quarter result as the e-commerce giant co-founded by Jack Ma reported revenue and earnings that missed analyst expectations. The company posted quarterly revenue of $40.73 billion, which was up 2% year over year, missing analyst consensus estimates of $41.26 billion. On a like-for-like basis, excluding revenue from the divested Sun Art and In Time businesses, Alibaba's revenue would have grown 9% year over year. The adjusted earnings per American Depository Share, or ADS, came in at 101, missing the consensus of 173. Pretty healthy miss there. Adjusted net income declined 67% to $2.39 billion, while adjusted EBITDA slipped 57% year over year to $3.35 billion, reflecting investments in Taobao instant commerce and enhancements to user experiences and technology. It wouldn't be a normal day if we didn't get challenged there by some of the automatic changing around of the web page there. Net income, however, fell 66% year over year, primarily attributed to a decrease in income from operations. Now, here's some different sector performance for you. Alibaba's China e-commerce group revenue rose 6%. That went to $22.79 billion. The company expanded its quick commerce business during the quarter, improving user experience and efficiency while focusing more on higher value food orders and non-food categories. It increased average order value and improved unit economics by improving logistics, optimizing the order mix, and strengthening customer retention. It rebranded L.me to Taobao Instant Commerce to align it more closely with the Taobao app and integrated the service into the Quen app in January of 2026 to reach more users. Customer management revenue rose 1% year over year as weaker transactions and the phase out of software services fees benefit slower growth. However, the Taobao app saw double-digit growth in monthly active users, supported by the expanding quick commerce business. The company also grew its 88 VIP membership base by double digits to over 59 million. I don't know how VIP you can get if the membership base is 59 million, but that's another story. And plans to improve retention by offering greater value to its top customers, of which there are many. For the quarter, AIDC, or the Alibaba International Digital Commerce Group, they reported a 4% increase in revenue, by the way. They reduced its year-over-year losses by improving logistics and increasing investment efficiency, while also strengthening unit economics in AliExpress's choice businesses. The company expanded and diversified its product offerings by leveraging Alibaba's supply chain, including extending its partnership with Shinsegae to bring South Korean products to platforms like Lazada. At the same time, AliExpress Brand Plus program accelerated brand onboarding and delivered strong quarter-over-quarter sales growth. The Cloud Intelligence Group posted a 36% revenue increase to $6.19 billion, driven by strong public cloud demand and growing AI product adoption. AI offerings, continued to gain traction, marking the 10th straight quarter of triple-digit growth. Alibaba Cloud maintained its market leadership by attracting customers to its AI and cloud services suite while continuing to earn recognition across global and China-based industry rankings. The company also expanded its global footprint to 92 availability zones across 29 different regions. The company advanced its AI push through the Qwen model family, which is seeing rapid adoption across industries and has surpassed 1 billion downloads. It launched Qwen 3.5 to improve performance and efficiency, while its Qwen app gained traction with over 300 million monthly users and deeper integration across Alibaba's ecosystem. Alibaba also scaled its in-house chip unit, T-Head, to support AI workloads, strengthening its computing capacity and enabling more cost-effective AI services. Alibaba's cash position remains robust with $80.1 billion in cash and cash equivalents. That's as of the end of 2025. The company generated an operating cash flow of $5.15 billion, which was down 49%, and free cash flow declined 71% to $1.62 billion, primarily due to investments in the Taobao instant commerce. As of the end of 2025, Alibaba had 128,200 employees. That was up from 126,600 as of September. So they actually added about 2,000 employees over that quarter. CEO Eddie Wu said Alibaba continued to invest heavily in AI and consumer businesses during the quarter, positioning AI as a key long-term growth driver. Quote, AI is and will continue to be one of our primary growth engines, end quote. So we're hearing that here, and we're hearing that over in Asia as well. He noted that cloud intelligence revenue rose 36%, with AI-related products delivering a 10th straight quarter of triple-digit growth, while the model SaaS as a service platform emerged as a new growth engine. On the consumer side, he said that the company integrated more services into its Qwen app, driving user growth and transactions, while monthly active users surpassing 300 million as AI agents handled real-world tasks at scale. No word yet if you can get AI to fix a plumbing issue. That's one of the things I'm waiting for. He added that Alibaba is well positioned to expand both enterprise and consumer AI businesses, supported by its full stack capabilities across models, clouds, chips, and ecosystem integration. So let me know, folks, what do you think about Alibaba here for a trade? Buffalo by Bicycle says sell, sell, sell. You guys are talking about Rivian. I guess we can get to that. We can get to that later. Baba is a great buy for long term. They are investing heavy in AI and cloud. That is literally what I was just reporting there, and I was giving you the stats for that. So, Lion, you like this long term. Let me ask you, if we move down and fill that gap, or we find some support at the 500-day moving average that we just looked at, are you a buyer down there? Are you? And actually, let me refine that. Are you a buyer for a swing, like maybe a month or longer in terms of the time horizon? Let me know. Let me know. Okay, some more news here that might end up moving some of the home buying stocks, maybe even some of the builders. American home buyers are getting much needed financial relief. The Federal Housing Finance Agency, or the FHFA, has announced new rules for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac mortgages that will lower homeowners' insurance premiums by removing strict, costly roof coverage mandates. In a move aimed at addressing skyrocketing insurance premiums, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will now accept actual cash value, or ACV, coverage for roofs for single-family homes and condominiums. Previously, borrowers were forced to secure full replacement cost value, or RCV, for roofs, a level of coverage that has become prohibitively expensive and difficult to find in many states. This means that buyers can now use cheaper insurance that pays for the roof's current depreciated value if damaged, rather than being forced to buy expensive policies that pay for a brand new roof. Quote, thanks to President Trump's landslide victory, we are replacing a disruptive and expensive Biden insurance mandate with common sense policies for today's market, end quote. That came from FHFA Director William J. Pulte. He goes on to say, quote, lower insurance costs and mortgage rates shrink the monthly payment of a new mortgage, giving homebuyers confidence that they can afford the American dream. Now, just as an aside here, I don't think this one thing is going to be what we need. We're actually going to need several things for this to really pick up. And first-time home buying, something that very strong to me personally. I sacrificed a lot, and it took years to be able to put myself in a position where I could buy my first home in lieu of renting. And it changed a lot of stuff for me. And this is absolutely a problem. And I would love to, even for more than just stocks appreciating and us trading those stocks, I would love to see this actually help a whole bunch of first-time home buyers. I think there's a lot there. I think that owning your home kind of gives you more of a sense of responsibility. I think that it kind of breeds better financial decisions. I think there's just a lot of really good stuff from graduating effectively from renting to buying. Now, and that's not to say that there's anything wrong with renting, but if you're buying and you're building equity there, for most people, the home is the largest asset that these people ever own. Anyway, while the roof can now be covered in its current depreciated market value, the rest of the home will still require full RCV protection. This ensures borrowers remain well protected against natural disasters while keeping premiums manageable. And if you want the link to the actual document itself, it is in this. I'll go ahead, or in the link, I should say. I'll throw that there in the chat for you. The update also brings major relief to condominium buildings. In addition to allowing cheaper ACV roof coverage, the FHFA simplified a complicated maximum per unit deductible rule. As a result, many condo buildings that were previously priced out of the mortgage market now qualify. The agency is also scrapping a confusing 2024 regulation that slowed down insurance claims and unnecessarily drove up costs. Senator Eric Schmidt, who worked closely with the FHFA on the changes, emphasized the broad benefits for consumers. Quote, I'm grateful to the Trump administration and the federal housing director Pulte for working with me to repeal this harmful mandate, giving families the flexibility they need, ensuring rural communities have better access to choose an insurance plan that best reflects their need, end quote. By easing these strict insurance requirements, the FHFA aims to lower monthly housing payments. This flexibility is designed to help more first-time buyers successfully close on homes and ensure homeowners can maintain affordable coverage in today's tough insurance market. Again, cannot stress enough how good it would be for just the broader population to have more and more first-time home buyers, something I feel very, very strongly about. Okay, in a surprising piece of news here, Mark Cuban refuses to rip on Trump RX. And if you know anything about Trump and Cuban's history, you know they haven't been afraid to rip on each other for, decades at this point. Man. Anyway, Mark Cuban, billionaire entrepreneur and CEO of CostPlusDrugs.com, praised Trump RX, a prescription drug platform, launched by President Trump for its efforts in reducing the cost of certain medications for patients. Cuban took to X on Wednesday to talk about the positive impact of the drug platform on healthcare costs, saying, quote, everyone wants me to rip on Trump RX. Reality is it's saving patients money on IVF and a few other drugs, a lot of money, end quote. If you want to go through this here, his tweet is also in this. So I'll go ahead and throw that link in the chat there as well. He further praised the team behind Trump RX, mentioning names like the director of Medicare, Chris Klomp, deputy national coordinator at HHS, Mark Atala, and director of CMS Innovation Center, Abe Sutton. Quote, Trump RX is just getting started, end quote. Cuban's post was in response to an article in the NBC News that criticized Trump RX, saying that it, quote, isn't doing much, end quote, for the rising drug prices. The entrepreneur said that Trump RX appears focused on helping patients, emphasized that it refused insurance industry price hikes that even hurt their stock prices. Cuban was referring to the Trump administration's proposed lower than expected Medicare insurer rates, which led to a significant drop in the stock prices of major health insurers like United Health Group, UNH, Humana, HUM, and CVS Health Corp, ticker CVS. Trump RX was launched in February with the aim of providing consumers with access to more affordable prescription medications. The platform has managed to secure discounts on several drugs from various pharmaceutical companies such as AstraZeneca, ticker AZN, Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, EMD Serono Novo Nordisk, ticker NVO, Pfizer, ticker PFE, and Amgen, ticker AMGN, and others. This isn't the first time that Cuban has defended the platform. Despite his initial doubts, earlier this month, in an interview with Margaret Hoover from the PBS network, he called for patience and urged support for efforts to expand across affordable medications. Quote, give them a chance. Goes on to say in the same quote, anything that opens the door for lower price medications, I'm a fan of, end quote. And me too. I have a lot of friends that have to take medications. Some of them are extremely expensive. Thank God that so far I am not in a position where I have to take a whole bunch of medications on a regular basis. I have family members that are in that position. And I completely agree with Cuban on this. The more that we make some of these drugs more affordable for the American people, hopefully the better off everyone is. There's also cost savings here, right? Like if we can get people healthy, the amount of money that we spend on some of these medical services could potentially go lower. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but all really important stuff. The billionaire has been a vocal critic of rising drug prices and has slammed the insurance companies for their unfair practices. He even urged Berkshire Hathaway, ticker BRK, to reconsider its healthcare insurance investments to bring about a larger change in the industry. So big time shout out here to Mark Cuban. I disagree with a lot of the stuff that he says on a regular basis, but he is right over the target on this one. I mean, he is hitting the nail on the head. And furthermore, it's great to see people that have a long-standing feud or contentious relationship. It's great to see them at least temporarily put things aside for the betterment of people as a whole. I think we need more of this, and I applaud Mark Cuban for doing so. Really good stuff. And then the other thing here is that I'm not necessarily sure what the trade is on some of these healthcare companies, but I would imagine that there's going to be an important one. There's going to be a big opportunity in the future. I can't tell you when it is. I'd love to get more opinions from the group on all of that, but this was good. This definitely put a smile on my face here this morning. Okay, now I've got just a couple of news stories left here. I think I'm going to do these two, and then we'll see where we're at. This first one here is another semiconductor company that we don't often talk about. So I kind of felt like covering this might raise the tide for everybody here. Qnity, I think is how you pronounce this. QNITY. The ticker is Q, which, by the way, is really, I'm a fan of any ticker that's just one letter. I think that's cool. I think we only have 6 unused letters for tickers. Anyway, Qnity Electronics shares are up on Thursday's pre-market session, albeit on low volume. At least I checked earlier, and the volume was extremely low. Let me look again. Yeah, actually, in fact, they've gone red here, but this is on extremely light volume. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself on the pre-market action. It's not as if it's like one of these companies that reports earnings and has a lot of volume trading in the pre-market. On Wednesday, the company collaborated with NVIDIA to enhance innovation in the semiconductor sector. The partnership aims to leverage advanced computing for materials research, reflecting Qnity's commitment to addressing the growing demands of AI-driven workloads. The collaboration will utilize NVIDIA's open technology to accelerate the development of materials essential for next-generation AI and high-performance computing. This strategic move positions Qnity to better serve its customers in the semiconductor and electronics industries. John Kemp, CEO of Qnity, emphasized the importance of innovation and collaboration in meeting the industry's evolving needs, particularly as AI workloads increase in complexity. In addition, Randy King, Chief Technology and Sustainability Officer, highlighted that this initiative will help compress development timelines and optimize performance factors such as signal integrity and manufacturability. This month, Qnity Electronics also disclosed a $61.5 million investment to acquire a new advanced semiconductor research and manufacturing facility in Taiwan. The company expects the facility to begin operations in early 2027. The investment aligns with Qnity's local for local operating strategy and supports demand in artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, and advanced connectivity markets. Now, just a little technical analysis on this, then we'll go ahead and take a look at the chart on this one. The combination of a neutral RSI and bearish MACD suggests mixed momentum here. Has a key resistance here of 115 and a key support of 110, so pretty tight range there. And again, we'll go look at the chart here in a sec. Here are some of the earnings outlooks for this company. They have an EPS estimate of 88 cents and a revenue estimate of 1.25 billion and a valuation of 34.5 times, which does indicate that it's a premium valuation. As far as some of the analyst consensus here, RBC Capital is at an outperform. They raised their target to 139 as of March 2nd. KeyBank is overweight. They raised their target to 147. That was on February 27th. And RBC Capital is at an outperform. They recently raised their target to 133 back on February 25th. It does have some exposure here to some of these ETFs. The largest one is the ticker CSD, which is the S&P spinoff ETF. I'm not even sure I've pulled that up in my broker ever. The other ones here are the Equal Weight Technology ETF RSPT and the Equal Weight ETF RSP. So that is the less talked about cousin of the SPY. Now, because Q carries significant weight in these funds, any significant inflows or outflows of these ETFs will likely force automatic buying or selling of the stock. So that's something else to keep in mind here. Let's go back to Pro. Let's take a look at the chart. Here's what it looks like. Now, we're at 112 here today because, again, we're down a little bit in the pre-market. This, you can see, has moved with the rest of some of the semis in the theme. It actually had a pretty good 2026, while some of the others were flat. We've recently pulled back from that recent high. Those highs are up near where a lot of those analyst ratings were. We lost the 20, back tested the 20, pulled back towards the 50, didn't quite test it, certainly didn't break it. And now it looks like we had a second test of the 20-day moving average at 115.63 or 115.5. So this would be one of the levels that I'd like to see this get over. Given that we're kind of chopping around in a range here, I think that it probably makes sense to maybe wait this out. Maybe we're able to get this price a little bit lower here, about 106, 107 or something like that. But there you go. That's ticker Q. Again, not one that we often look at here. So hopefully this kind of raises the tide for everybody. All right, next story here. This is actually something that I've been following. I've reported on a couple of stories like this. We started with the Accenture story, where you have to be proficient with AI in order to get promotions. Now, we've talked a lot about, okay, AI tools are one thing, but our businesses adopting this AI. Small businesses across the U.S. are rapidly adopting artificial intelligence, seeing clear gains in efficiency and productivity, but most remain in the early stages and need guidance to fully integrate the technology. I think that's going to be one of the key parts of this entire story. I can tell you here at Benzinga, and I still think we would be considered a small business, we absolutely do use AI tools here to try and help increase productivity. What's not lost is that it can't be relied on, and it is used to boost, not replace human beings. I absolutely agree that this helps productivity. It allows me to do things I didn't think I was capable of doing. We've talked about that when it comes to coding and all of that. And it is my hope that some of these tools actually result in not only productivity gains, but large advancements with some of these businesses that are trying to tackle hard problems. On Tuesday, a new survey from Goldman Sachs' 10,000 small business voices found that 76% of small businesses are currently using AI, and 93% report it has positively impacted their operations. Efficiency and productivity were cited as the top benefits by 84% of respondents. Despite widespread adoption, only 14% of businesses said AI is fully embedded in core operations. So it seems like there's some room to grow here as well. Many owners cited barriers such as lack of technical expertise. difficulty choosing the right tools, and concerns over data privacy. That data privacy one, that is definitely going to be one of the most important things here. I mean, the expectation of privacy seems like it's shrinking every single day. So how is this going to be resolved? I think those waters are still a bit murky, if you ask me. There is strong support for the bipartisan AI Main Street Act. Thank God. Strong bipartisan support for the AI Main Street Act, which aims to provide small businesses with guidance, training, and outreach to adopt AI effectively. Earlier this month, U.S. new business creation surged, with Mark Cuban attributing the trend to AI reducing the cost and complexity of launching companies. Apollo Academy said AI and large language models could create jobs and strengthen the labor market, while Cuban noted students skilled in prompting AI were outperforming employees and many smaller companies or corporations. This is exactly what I had said when these things first kind of came on the scene. Although AI is definitely going to remove some remedial jobs or low-end jobs, it's also going to create others. And one of the conversations that we've been having in happy hour, even somewhat here and also in real life, is, look, if you have kids, if you have young folk that are going to be entering the workforce or starting to enter the workforce now, I don't care what they're interested in, and I don't care what industry they are in. They absolutely should be trying to use AI as, if for nothing else, than becoming experienced with how to prompt these tools. These AI tools can be great, but they suffer from the same affliction that every piece of technology has. Garbage in, garbage out. If you are not skilled or experienced in prompting these AI tools, a lot of your prompts will result in what is being called AI slop, and it might not necessarily be beneficial or increase productivity. In fact, if this is relied on too much, could actually reduce productivity, as knowledgeable human beings are going to have to check and perhaps even redo that work. Ryan doesn't care. The selective hearing from this group here, it's done for comedic effect in a lot of times, but it is one of the most impressive levels of selective hearing I've ever heard anywhere in my life. Again, puts a smile on my face. Scalelogic's AI expanded its enterprise-grade AI tools to support small and mid-sized businesses, providing systems for lead generation, data enrichment, and revenue automation previously reserved for large enterprises. Last year, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, highlighted AI-powered customer service bots as a competitive weapon for growth. He noted, now, so really quickly, I can tell you from my own personal experience here with the customer service bots, this is one of the biggest examples of garbage in, garbage out. If those customer service bots are not trained well or are not capable of providing ample service to the customers that are requesting service, you're going to have a bigger problem on your hands. You're going to have less of a problem. You're going to have a bigger problem on there. So again, this all goes back to, how is it trained? How does the model actually perform? And how are the human beings that are interacting with it? How are they doing? He noted that lower AI costs, and sorry, this is Kevin O'Leary. He noted that lower AI costs allowed SMBs to handle customer interactions faster and more efficiently, with the hospitality industry leading adoption in bookings and concierge services. So this is definitely a story that I am going to be following. I'm very curious to see how this evolves. It's just, I want to see this get adopted, but more so than that, I want to see it work. I want to see, we talk a lot about Ondas and drones and all of that, but there are many, many smaller startup, even smaller companies than that have really good ideas and really good products and ideas for products. And if AI can help make that more productive, bring those products to market faster, or make those services even better, like in the example here with hospitality, giddy up. That's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for everybody. All right. We got plenty of time here. Got 6 minutes left before 13 joins. We're in really good shape. I might have planned this perfectly here today, folks. I might have planned this perfectly. Next stock we're going to look at here is going to be Rocket Lab. I think we looked at this. We've looked at this the last several days. Space has been a huge theme here. Here's what the 5-day chart, or excuse me, the 5-minute chart looks like over the past couple of days. See, we had a huge move here on Tuesday. Now we've basically bled all of that back and gone lower. We're basically right down to the low that we printed from the Monday open here. So we'll see if Rocket Lab is able to turn around a little bit. We're only down 0.2% in the pre-market, but again, this is on the back of yesterday's 11.5% decline. Rocket Lab lands a $190 million mega deal for hypersonic launches. Rocket Lab, ticker RKLB, shares rose on Thursday after the company secured a $190 million contract, its largest to date, for 20 HASTE hypersonic test launches under the Mach-TB 2.0 program. The 4-year deal, led by Kratos Defense and Security Solutions, or ticker KTOS, boosts Rocket Lab's backlog to over 70 launches and more than $2 billion across launch and space systems. The company said its first mission could occur within months. Rocket Lab already completed multiple Mach 5 plus HASTE flights with a 100% success rate in 2023. CEO Sir Peter Beck. I have an official Lord title, but I would absolutely love to have an official Sir title. That would be sweet to get knighted. Anyway, CEO Sir Peter Beck said that the partnership will strengthen America's national security and accelerate hypersonic testing. Rocket, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Come on. Rocket Lab has sold 28 launches so far in the first quarter of 2026, nearly matching its full year 2025 total. Here's some technical analysis for you on the Rocket Lab chart. I know we just took a look at it, but here's some more for you. The combination of RSI that suggests neutral momentum and the MACD, this combination suggests the stock is not currently overbought or oversold. So we're kind of in no man's land there. There is potential for upward movement, and a key upside resistance area would be 77.50. Key support area there at 66.50. Again, looking at the earnings outlook here, the recent one, or the next one, which is projected or estimated for May 7th, looking at a loss of 8 cents there. That was up from a loss of 12 cents. So it's better. They are looking for an estimate or a revenue estimate of $191.05 million. That also is up from the $122.5 million estimate. Cantor has overweight and an $85 price target. That's fresh as of March 13th. Needham is at a buy. They lowered their target to 95. That was of end of February 27th. Okay. And Cantor is repeated there for some reason. So because Rocket Lab carries such a heavy weight in some of the ETFs that it's in, and indeed, unlike the last stock, this carries a much heavier weight. This is in the Aerospace and Defense ETF. I'm pretty sure 13 has talked about this one. That's ticker XAR, has a 5.66% weighting there. The ARC Autonomous Technology and Robotics ETF, ARC-Q, carries just about a 5% weighting there. And the ARC Space Defense and Innovation ETF, or ARC-X, carries nearly an 8% weighting in that one. So a lot of exposure in some of those ETFs. All right. That's it for the news here today. Next, we are going to do some street tweets. And one of them is going to be on Micron, but the next one, it may ruffle some feathers. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get started here with our street tweets segment. Sorry, had to take a drink of tea there. Okay, first tweet comes from Gary Black, and this is on Micron, which is one of the topics of the day here. Micron minus 3% after hours on the Q2 results that easily beat estimates. That might be a bit of an understatement. And offered a much stronger than expected Q3 outlook. There we go. Micron is a leading manufacturer of memory chips and data storage solutions, benefiting from AI-driven demand and high bandwidth memory and data center operations. The debate is, and I already gave you all the stats, so I'm not going to repeat myself. They're the same. But down here at the bottom, the debate is whether the results will reflect peak earnings power or whether they are sustainable over several more periods. Now, I had brought this up on Happy Hour yesterday when we were watching this. I said, is Micron at peak earnings? And there's some hemming and hawing. There's some back and forth, which I think is good and healthy. But this is going to be something that we definitely need to pay attention to. Are they at peak earnings power here, or is this sustainable for a move higher? Now, I know a lot of folks in the chat are already very bullish on some of these memory names. I'll be honest, after reading some of the earnings report, it's kind of hard not to be bullish on Micron. But Gary Black here, it's an unpopular opinion. It's one that I raised yesterday. Are we at peak earnings for Micron? Only time will tell. Producer, next tweet. All right, the Kobisi letter. Going to throw some gas on a fire here today. Wall Street is selling gold and silver to retail investors. Since Q2 of 2025, retail investors have bought $70+ billion in gold ETFs. These purchases have more than tripled over the last 6 months. Over the same period, institutional investors have sold about $1 billion worth of outflows, accelerating in late January after gold prices crashed 20% in just 3 days. Meanwhile, the silver ETFs have recorded $10+ billion in retail purchases over the last year. Over the same time period, institutions have sold about $200 million. Retail investors are all in on precious metals. And if you've joined our show at all, you know that that is absolutely the case. We have a number of folks in here. Thank you for putting the chart up there so that's easier to see, producer. We have a number of folks that regularly talk about metals, gold, silver, and maybe other materials as well. Here's the reason I'm bringing this up. Can this possibly be a retail is left holding the bag here? I'm looking at the GLD here, closed at 444 yesterday and is printing 418 in the pre-market here today. That is moving down with the futures, not inverse, like we are often told. Quick peek here at silver shows the exact same thing. Silver getting absolutely pounded. Ticker SLV closed at 68.70. It is printing 60 right now. Did we get prints? Oh, we are on. Yep, there we go. We just broke 60 live right there as this also continues to come in. So I completely understand that gold and silver are extremely important, perhaps more so now with the whole AI trend and everything. My big concern is, was there so much hype that retail is left holding a very expensive bag after a meteoric rise in both gold and silver pricing? All right. Let's get back to Pro, and let's also get back to our pre-market pulse because 13 is ready. Let's go ahead and bring him on. All right, 13, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I don't think the market is, but I'm doing just fine. How are you? How is everybody in the chat?
Okay. Everyone in the chat, I actually haven't read, after the intro, I haven't been able to read much of the chat, unfortunately. Was cruising through a whole lot of news there. So, okay. Anyway, how are you?
I saw something about Sir Mix-a-Lot getting knighted. I don't know what that's about, but the chat does do chat things. So you let me know what that's about. Yeah, so Micron, we were just talking about, you know, it's been on a run. It's got to come back in at some point, but you know, I'm not convinced that we're going to see some, you know, massive drops. As a matter of fact, I think 400 is going to be, you know, probably one of the big support areas that we're coming down to. Goes with the 50-day SMA right there. It's the middle of this consolidation we've been in all year. See what happens around 400.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to load up Pro. By the way, for anyone that uses Benzinga Pro, I know you're being plagued by the logout issue. Our team is actually working on fixes pretty much all day yesterday and have one live here today. So you should be seeing better performance here today. I would recommend that if you have Pro, you hard refresh it. For anyone that's not sure what a hard refresh is, if you're on PC, hold Control and click Reload in your web browser. If you're on Mac, hold Command and click Reload in your web browser, and that should give you the hard refresh, which clears some of the cookies and gives you a fresh start there. But okay, sorry I'm so slow here, 13. Let me load up the Micron chart and go to the daily. Here's what we got. So you think we pull back into any of these moving averages? What do you think happened? What does your gut tell you? What do you think?
I told you. I think this is coming. I think 400 is where the support is. That's where the 50-day SMA is.
Okay, but do you think that happens next?
I think that's where the price is headed.
Where we're going. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Again, trying to do many things at once here. Missed that. All right.
Yeah, Brian, exactly. Kind of like NVIDIA. I mean, you're talking about how everybody was in memory. I was just looking at NVIDIA's chart, and I was like, this thing has had some massive run going on here with this, even though it pulled back and consolidated, and then it went on another run again. I totally expect the same thing from Micron. I mean, you look at one of NVIDIA's earliest moves, I think from like 2000 and maybe 22 or 23 all the way up into 2024. That was like something of around like an 800+% move. We've barely even gotten through 650% in Micron. So to me, that says that there's a lot more left to go here in Micron, but we are going to see some, selling. We're going to see some pullbacks, corrections, all that stuff, just as NVIDIA did. So, I'm only looking at 400 because it's a really standout spot to me. We could go lower. Wouldn't surprise me either, but I still think Micron's got a much higher, price in its future.
Okay. Good breakdown there on Micron. You want to just hit the movers, or do you have anything else that you want to cover?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, you asked me a question. I was taking a drink there. Yeah, we can.
Hey, see how it is? See how it is when you're doing something else? Not always easy to stay right on task there. All right, let's go ahead and take care of the movers. We'll start here with the first one. This is going to be CHNR. This is China Natural Resources, and I'm pretty sure we've traded this before off of the scanner relative.
Yeah, we called it China.
Have we really done that?
We called it China, yeah.
China, okay. CHNR is what I'm going to call it, China Natural Resources. We did pop as high as 650 here before coming back, although we all are holding higher here by about 57%. And we do have some news here. China Natural Resources signs a letter of intent to acquire a majority stake in Huri Technology in 37 million to 40 million cash and stock deal. Special committee of independent directors formed to evaluate this transaction. So this is what's I'm not familiar with this or with the Huri technology company. So someone's going to have to help me out there. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 6.75% of the float shorted with 1.88 days to cover. On average, the stock is a ghost town. 33,000 shares traded today. It's done 26 million. Float on this one, low float. I've got this here at 544,000 shares in the float.
Very low float stock. I think that's one of the big reasons you're seeing the movement that we're getting here today. I was looking at the cash position and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what cash are they going to be using in order to make this acquisition happen? I don't know. This could also just be a China pump, but it also could be, the actual thing that they're doing here, which is the acquisition. They did do a reverse split of 8-for-1 back last May. I don't think they've done anything recently, but there's not a whole lot of news on this, and didn't see a whole lot of great information on their balance sheet or their income statement. They have no revenue. The company looks like it needs cash. So, like I said, I don't know where the money is coming from with this. Maybe there's a capital raise coming, but other than that, looking at the chart here, it seems like we're coming into some territory where the price, when it does have these, wild days of random spikes, this is about the area we see the price run up to before it retreats. Maybe save what happened in October of 2025, but other than that, you get these spikes that pop up, after the start of the day and come right back in. I'm not sure that's going to be much different here for this one. So look at the intraday chart here. For now, if it can manage to recapture the VWAP, maybe there's some more price action happening here to the upside. You could draw a trend line from the two wicks, one at 720 and the other at 750 this morning. That might give you the trend of where it could go if we get that VWAP.
Oh, that is a steep one, dude.
But other than that, that's really all I've got. I don't know how great this one's going to be, but I think that low float is going to be the reason it moves it all.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown there. CHNR. Next, we'll go to SER. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of discussion going on with the patch that we just released, so it's distracting. I apologize. SER. This is going to be Serena Therapeutics. This thing popped in the after hours right up to a level of about 210. Came back in a little bit in the pre-market, and we are testing that level now. Again, stock is up 54%. Now, yesterday after hours was when we got the press release here. Serena Therapeutics secures a $30 million in private placement and advanced registration trial of SER-252 for advanced Parkinson's disease. So it gets a $30 million private placement to support its drug here. That's what's driving it higher by about 55%. Negligible short interest, 2.48% of the float traded with 1.35 days to cover. I don't think that's going to do anything here today. On average, it trades 1.47 million shares, done 25.5 million here versus a float of 5.24. So 13, what do you have here on SER?
Well, the company has very little revenue and no cash, but now that they've done this private placement, they've taken care of that issue. The company also has I think this private placement will last it at least 2 quarters, possibly 3, though I'm not sure about that figure. But they needed the cash, so this is a good sign for them to continue operations. But it's going to be something that they just burn up because they don't have much revenue. Looking at the chart here, this has some resistance up in the right on the just beyond the or just beneath the 2 area. We're in that range right now where this little candle here from the end of last year sort of rebounded. That's sort of the resistance that we're in right now, just beneath the $2 handle. If we manage to get through $2, there's resistance again up at the 65 EMA on the daily. That's at 231. So that could, if we do manage to get through $2, I think we could end up seeing that 65 EMA. It's got a lot of history of the price being unable to hold above it for too long. So even if we get up there, not expecting it to hold up. And that's about all I've got for the daily chart on the 5-minute. Yeah, 209 we ran up to in the after hours. That's about where we had just hit in the pre-market here. So there's your breakout spot. We can get back up to over 209, 210. Should be able to try for that 65 EMA on the daily.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. SER. We'll see how that does. Next here is Soon. This is Sun Nation Energy. I know we've traded this one before. 13, I wouldn't even be shocked if you had previous lines drawn on this from one of the times that we've traded this before. I know I've seen this on the scanner. Does look like $2 here is going to be the really tough resistance. We were unable to get above that yesterday in the after hours or again here this morning. We are seeing here that the conference call is in progress. This is on the back of them reporting earnings yesterday after hours. They had an EPS of 181 and sales of 27.2 1 million. Stock is higher here by 33%. Now, I didn't go through the pre-hour here, but they beat the annual guidance and they provided another market outlook here. And market looks like it likes it as we're plus 30%. Quick peek at the short interest on this one. Actually elevated here. Not crazy, but elevated. 10.21% of the float shorted with 0 days to cover. The average volume is 2.9 million. This has done 11.8 million here versus a float of 3.4. So 13, do you have any thoughts here on Soon?
Yeah, so the ER was great. The guidance, that wasn't really formal guidance they gave. What they said was that they're in a much stronger financial position than they were the same time last year. They noted that their Q1 tends to be their weakest quarter, but ramps up into Q2. So they mentioned all that, but as far as their guidance goes, they're basically guiding that they're in a much better position than they were last year. So they expect better performance out of 2020. I guess it would be their fiscal year 2026 or 7. They're starting Q1. So whatever they think is going to do well for, if they think they're going to do better this year because of their financial position, then I think that's the reason why you're seeing this upside move here. I don't think it's the earnings had as much to do with it. We're running into some heavy resistance around 2, but it does look like this is trading into something of a little bit of a ascending triangle. Because 2 would be the resistance area, so that's your horizontal line. But you have this series of higher lows ever since the earnings came out. So that's giving us a little bit of ascending price action. It looks like we could break over 2 at some point because this is a bullish pattern. So just need to see that volume component. Yeah, there you go.
Yep, and we're testing it right now.
All right.
Okay, next here is going to be ZSL, and this is the Pro Shares Ultra Short Silver ETF. Now, I don't really think there's much to cover here, but as Jay Rice said, gold and silver have no bid this morning. They are getting absolutely pounded here today. Lion said he's going to back up the truck if silver falls another $10. Let me know when the beeping starts, because it looks like that is certainly going to happen. I just can't tell you when.
Soon
Get in there,
broke.
13. What do you got?
Soon broke too. So soon?
There we go. Glad we had just finished talking about the triangle and the two resistance there. Didn't even wait for the market open to go do its thing.
There's still some sellers in the way here, so I don't know how. I mean, like I said, the volume is going to be a big component of this. This would have been, I think, this breakout would have probably been greater if we had seen it in the after the open. But we're still moving up, so let's just see what it does.
Now, do we want a back test of the breakout area for a reload?
I would love to see a back test.
Okay, and maybe we can get the VWAP to come up and support it by the time it comes back in. So, okay, that would be your next thing to look for. Okay, so ZSL, this is moving up because silver is moving down. There you go. Let me know if you have any trades on that. Nothing much else to cover. Next here is going to be DLTH, and this is Duluth Holdings.
Yeah.
So this is a clothing company, kind of a work gear clothing company. Stock is up almost 21%, and this is on the back of earnings there. It's actually flagging quite nicely there. It reported earnings this morning. Duluth Holdings EPS of 23-cent beat the 14-cent estimate, and sales of $215.89 million beat the estimate of $210 million. They also see fiscal year 2026 sales of $540 to $560 million. That was versus the estimate of $547. So still kind of in line there, but maybe at the higher end. In any case, market loves this, up 20.74%. Now, Jay, I go back to something that we have been talking about recently with these consumer-facing stocks or these retails. Maybe this is not necessarily a retail store, but still kind of fits into that. Does this fade its move back like we saw in Gap? Does this give us the inverse reaction of what we saw to the earnings? Remember, Gap, Kohl's, we saw them trade up, give everything back. Lululemon, we saw it trade down, go red, green. Do we have the same thing here on Duluth? What do you think?
You said something really interesting about
I do that sometimes
this this company's work, their customers. You said something about the workforce. It's interesting that you mentioned that because, with all these different data, or maybe blue collar workforce, but you said with all these data, with all these data centers and all this construction that's happening, it kind of made me think, okay, well, that's interesting you just said that, because if this is the choice of clothing that those workers are going for, then this probably has some staying power. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. You're saying that folks are probably upgrading their work clothes wardrobe more so than others because there's so much work. Yeah, that tracks. I don't know if that's going to play out, but that is a sensible thesis.
It's just something that you just made me think of now, and I probably will have to look into that. But as far as the chart goes, I mean, this is not a bad looking chart. We do need to get above the VWAP, and I think once we do, we will probably see this trade a lot better. We might even wait until it opens before that happens. But yeah, they had earnings, they beat, they had good guidance. The midpoint was higher than the estimate. The company has revenue, it's got cash. The earnings reports are sometimes beats, sometimes misses, but either way, it's still a company with a lot of money, and I don't think they're going to be needing to do a capital raise. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they've really ever done one. Doesn't look like they have. So. I don't think there's any risk of them raising capital. For me, I think this formation that we have here on the daily chart is really worth keeping an eye on. That's a nice trend line you have there on the daily as well. So let's see if we can. Let me just move to a daily. Just take a closer look at that. What is that moving average you have there? Is that the 100?
I have EMAs on this chart,
okay.
Unfortunately. So if you want 13, just to make this a little bit more clear for not only you, but for the audience as well, let me bring up Duluth on my main chart here. These are all of the simple moving averages that you are used to. So
I was just wondering what that purple one was.
Oh, so you were actually wondering from this specific chart. That purple one is the 200 EMA on the daily.
Okay, so that's pretty much what we're sitting right atop of right now. And
indeed, we're 3 cents above it. Yep.
And the last time that we moved from beneath that moving average to above it, that was a gap up back in September of 2025. Look what happened that day. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen today, but it's something to keep your eyes out for. We might see $3 pretty soon.
Okay. I had asked Jay, is this going to fade? Jay's answer, classic Jay here. It's $3, Ryan. I have no idea. Channeling his inner Powell. I don't know. Okay.
Don't smear Jay's name like that.
What's that? Yeah,
don't smear Jay's name like that.
I mean, Jay Powell, Jay Rice. What's the difference? I'm just kidding, Jay. I know. I'm just kidding. Jay's got thick skin. Jay's got thick skin, and Jay can dish it out, so Jay can take it. No question about that. Besides, Jay knows that I want to personalize golf lessons, so he's got the upper hand still. All right. Do you have any other tickers that you wanted to take a look at here?
Nothing else I looked at this morning. Just saw a lot of penny names, a lot of directional ETFs. That's about it.
Okay. Then I guess we can take a look at what the chat wants to. Any stocks? I mean, I guess we can start with Broadcom here. I know we do it every day, but here you go. Broadcom looks like this is rolling over. We got a support test coming here. You want to do this one, 13? You want to do a different one? CTRA we could do?
We could do any of them. I could answer this one question from Ed Edwards real fast here. Thoughts on California power companies with the fire season coming? Yeah, I do understand that in the summer it tends to get really bad and dry. So there could, and if winds kick up like we saw not this year's January, but the January 2025, it could spread those pretty wildly. There was only one name I can think of that we would want to look at when it comes to that, and that's EIX.
Should we break that chart?
Sure.
Should we do that? Yeah, let's do that here real quick. Here's your EIX chart. Remember, the last time that I remember us talking about this on the show, this thing was in a 50 handle. And so if you took that, I know it took a long time for this to really start going, but if you took that trade, here we are sitting at 72. Interesting daily formation. 13, I'll be right back. Go off, King.
Okay. So when we were looking at this one originally, this was back in January 2025. I had just mentioned that we were getting reports about increased potential for wind and fires because there was all these advisory warnings coming out from California during that time, and we pointed to this particular stock as the one that would take the hit if blame was going to be thrown on utility companies. Southern California Edison is by far the biggest utility company in that entire region. It's owned by Edison International. And I know Lion, he remembers this one. This one, he took the puts on this. I tried to get a fill, couldn't get it. Didn't hit it when I tried, but he got it. And this thing just absolutely tanked. It went from this mid to high 70s all the way down to 55 before it had a bounce, and then ultimately settled lower, closer to 50. Actually, I'm sorry, 49. This went on for a while, and we even talked about how this was starting to look good again as the turn of the year began to happen. I ended up taking a position of this myself in the mid 50s, and I sold out at around 75. So that was a good trade. We got some really nice movement last month out of this thing, and this could still potentially go higher. But again, if you're looking for a utility company in Southern California that you want to trade off of the dry, potentially windy fire season, this is the one to do. This is the one that you will. You're still in this from the short. Okay, got you, Lion. So you bought this back down at 52.53. Okay,
that's when we were talking about it.
That's when we were talking. Yeah, because I also picked this up, and I'm out now. I sold when it hits 75. Yeah, so that was my trade. I'm finished with it for now. Maybe it goes higher, but I'm just a little concerned about some other things happening in California that kind of spooked me out of it. But it was a good trade, and I didn't have a whole lot of it, but it did its purpose. Good to see that you guys have a whole, but and it had a really attractive dividend down at that price as well. But SRE is another California utility.
You want me to go to that real quick since we're on the subject?
Sure, but where's Sempra located? What region do they cover in California?
Southern.
Southern? Okay. Like what? Probably not San Diego. I'll have to look.
It owns and operates liquefied natural gas facilities in North America and infrastructure in Mexico, but it primarily services electricity in Southern California, is what it's. I guess we could go to the company homepage and look in a little bit more.
Yeah,
San Diego. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, I would have to think that that's a much smaller utility company than Edison. Also, is this even publicly traded? Because if it's not, then it's right back to Edison for us. Sempra, we just talked about it. It is publicly traded. Don't really pay attention to me.
I'm sitting here. I was thinking, what did I miss here? I've already screwed up once with 13. I'm not going to walk into another beating from him. What did I miss here? But you figured it out.
No. Like I said, I'd have to look into this some more because San Diego, this. I don't think this covers as nearly as much as Edison does.
Okie dokie. What else do you want to do? You want to do Izzy's Satellogic?
Well, we never looked at Broadcom, and I saw a whole bunch of other folks mentioning.
Okay. Satellogic, then we'll look at Broadcom.
Yeah, Broadcom. Ex-dividend in 4 days. We're about to go death cross here. Probably, I don't know, maybe next week or sometime in early April. But the 50-day SMA is bearing down on the 200. So not a whole lot longer before it crosses there, unless the price manages to recapture the 50. So I think there's going to be a little bit more downside here. 300's certainly going to be a support area. It was once already this year, but the more we hammer support areas, the more likely it's going to lose them. So
okay,
that's about all I've got for Broadcom for now.
Okay, Retro's asking about Rocket. So I'll give a stab at this. We got 4 minutes till we open here.
Okay.
Retro here saying that this is now in a 13s. Are we going to bottom soon? So here's the thing. A couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, as I was just saying when we were reporting some of that news about home buyers, they're clearly trying to do something to help this. So I would say that after this thing has really kind of moved down here, it does get a little bit more and more attractive. Now, from the last time that we traded this, which was a great trade, by the way, we had 3 distinct areas that we had marked off on the chart: 13, 16, and 18. So I would think that there's a little bit, there's an area here that I would try and be patient for, Retro. I would like this to really kind of come back in towards 12.5. The last time we traded this, I think the underlying price was $12.30 when I bought those calls for this year, those March calls for this year. And obviously, we had a huge move up to 24. I was out by 21, 22 on this first move higher here. But I would be looking to try and reload this if we can get a little bit lower here. Now, does it bounce from here? Do we get to 13? Maybe we get close and don't actually print it. That would be possible too. But I'm looking at this. Area? What's that?
You looking for a bounce area?
He's looking for a bounce area. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's what he's looking for. He didn't say that. He's asking if we're going to bottom soon. That would imply to me he's looking for a bounce.
Okay. Go to a monthly and tell me what you see. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
I see a trend line.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's got enough of the trend that I see because you don't have the big drop that we got back when this thing started trading in 2020. This is about where it started bottoming that you have. So you've got the trend line. That's the one I'm looking at. And that's kind of why $13 looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, that 13 does. Now, I would love for this to overshoot to that 1250 area. I would definitely just take like a starter. I would grab like a handful of calls that are leaps. I had success trading this with longer dated calls than short ones because I haven't been able to really kind of time the big impulse move. But I'd be looking for 13, 12.5. I would definitely take a flyer here.
You look at 13 or 12.5?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say it comes into 13. You buy maybe 5, 10 calls. And then it comes into 1250 and holds there, I'd probably add more. As opposed to running from it, I'd probably add more.
Turn on your 50 MA.
50-month MA?
It's just, yeah, you have
It's
it on
on
the monthly.
It's on. I just don't have enough candles.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, the value is 1242.
It's okay. Well, that's pretty good. Glenn, 1259. So there you go. I think anywhere between that 1250 and 13 is going to make an ample entry area for Rocket.
Yeah, my whole point
Looks like
was
several of the chat members think the same thing. Our line here, 13 to 14.
My point was that you have $13 as a standout support and resistance area. It's been that way for a while, but you also have that longer term moving average also just beneath that $13 handle that adds an additional layer of support.
Okay. We are less than a minute till we open. Let me flip over to the main workspace. Let's get ready to go.
Yeah, I'm going to take a quick look.
Did we discuss silver? We did. We discussed it a little bit. There's no bid in silver and gold here as of yet. All right, we're open.
All right, so China looked like it was about to sink as we went to the open, but getting a small bid. Still beneath the VWAP. SER, this is blasting off.
SER. Sorry.
Soon we popped over that. We got that breakout from the. Okay. So SUNE can't be traded. I don't know if anybody else is getting that, but I just got a notification that it can only be liquidated.
And that's Webull, right? So
it's Webull, yeah.
Yeah. So here, let me see.
Duluth popped to 3 real fast. Sorry.
Let's see here on soon. Let's see what Toss has for us. Looks like I can place orders on Toss, not Toss restricted. So interesting.
Yeah, RGTZ, this is the inverse of the upside to Rigetti. This looks like it's coming up towards 28. I'm not, guaranteeing or anything that it's going to get up there, but this thing looks like it wants to go for 28. That's going to be a resistance area.
Okay, sorry, just handling one thing here real quick. 13, I apologize. Been a busy morning.
Not a problem.
Okay. All right, what do we got here? First move down on the S&P, first move on the S&P was down here. Looks like we're holding 655. We're trying to. I don't feel good about holding anything yet. Momentum clearly to the bearish side, both the 5-minute, 1-minute, and 15-minute charts, and that has a high confidence level. Soon, on the other hand, 220. So this one actually working on that 2 bust.
Yep.
Thank you, CJ. It's not restricted on E-Trade. Interesting that Webull seems to be the only one.
Baba was also getting hammered today on.
They had earnings, yeah.
Earnings miss, yeah.
Yep. Did we keep moving down from Baba? Yes, we did. So everything weaker here.
We're going to get another move in SER, I think. There was just a seller that was taken out. Popped up to 242.
So Soon and SER are both working here.
Yeah, Soon really working great. I mean, we got our back test of the top of that wedge. I'm sorry, not wedge, the ascending triangle, and now we're going higher. We're running into some sellers, though.
Is he mentioning that MU is tanking? So we talked about MU's earnings that was down 5% in the pre-market, now down 7.7%. Looks like maybe it's trying to hold 420. Lol, where's wisdom? Also, Chicago Realtor, great to see you again. Are you excited for the 60-degree days that we're about to get here in Chicago after the snow? You let me know. I'm thinking about taking a position in NVIDIA. What do you folks think would be a good entry point for that? Well, I would actually open that up to the group as well. My big thing here on NVIDIA, just to kind of echo Mark Petrino from last week and weeks prior here, is that probably, especially on something like this, you might want to wait for that bounce to kind of be confirmed as opposed to trying to catch the knife. So when it comes to some of these levels that me, 13, or the chat gives you here, I would say that probably worth remembering that you can kind of be a little bit patient here. We did break the 200. I would expect us to maybe back test that 200. And if we get rejected, we probably print lower. Where would I like to add this? Definitely lower than 170, right? Like I would like to see this 170 support area fall, maybe come in towards 165. That would correspond with a September low. Remember, the stock's been fairly sideways. So I would like probably right in here, 160 to 165 would be the area that I think I would like the most, at least where we sit today.
If we close under the 200-day SMA today, this will be the first close underneath it since May, what is this, 12th? Yeah, May 12th.
And 13, if we keep going down, that's going to drag this 50 down, and that 50 is not far from the 200. We might be looking at a death cross.
Yeah.
If that move continues. So
yeah, we're going to see all kinds of weakness in tech probably for a little while. If we get all that, because there's a lot of ETFs that have NVIDIA in it. So
Bob says it's a loading zone now for NVIDIA. Buffalo by Bicycle has been adding NVIDIA at 170s.
Okay. That'd be really bullish if we manage to get a quick recapture of the 200. But I need to see that materialize first.
Yeah, and I think that, we've been talking about kind of waiting for the market to pull back and maybe reset some of these valuations. I would almost rather have it do more things under the 200 before recapturing it. I'd like to see it maybe trade sideways a little bit, maybe test some of the other support areas.
Low float China coming back up to VWAP. Could get pushed around. Remember, it's got a very low float, so could see some pretty decent movement here, but just, day trade only.
Now, this one is not restricted, but the other one is?
Funny, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. Jay, 171. That's not Jay Rice, Jay Kobes. 171, your target there on NVIDIA. Thank you, folks, for responding to the outreach. Chicago Realtor, what do you think about those spots?
That's fantastic. I have 171 as one of my levels here too. I've got 3 levels that were interesting as we got up here in last July. 165, 168, and 171 all stood out to me during that time.
And Rivian, we got asked about this earlier. I got sidetracked there. We had a lot of news. Rivian shares trading higher after the company announced an investment from Uber for up to $1.25 billion through 2031 to deploy 50,000 autonomous robo-taxis. You can see Rivian actually popped to 1740. We came back in. We actually held that 15 EMA on the 5. Now we punched through VWAP on good volume too. So it sure looks like maybe we're going to test that 17.5 here. Yeah, Brian, I am fully supportive of it. I think this would probably help us. Toss needs to start putting out lists in the morning of what you can't trade. What I've been doing here is because I don't necessarily like just randomly buying crap just to see if you can do. Here's what I have been doing, and I don't know if this is the same as the rest of it. I just put in a limit order way under the price. If it accepts the limit order, it's not on the restricted list. But I think this would make our job easier if we just got lists of this on a regular basis.
Sorry to be a little bit of a buster about Rivian, but I look at this 1.25 billion deal and I think to myself, well, they burned through that in a quarter. I don't know how great that's going to be. They're talking like, what is this? 4 years away. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but every time that I can recall any company investing in Rivian, that I think that money just gets burned up.
And remember, we had that, what was it, $5 billion Volkswagen investment a long time ago that did the same thing, popped the stock very much like this. Rivian spent the next several weeks bleeding all that back. So to your point, we've actually seen this story before.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical about that. I've never really liked
look at
Rivian.
Your CHNR. Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah.
Busted right through the VWAP. 6 coming next, it looks like. SER had a big pullback.
Yeah, just if you are trading China, just remember this thing is very low float, and there it goes right back down beneath VWAP and trapped a whole bunch of people.
And yep, literally. Thankfully, you were on top of it because I couldn't say it fast enough. 13.
Soon, might see new highs soon.
I see what you did there.
Duluth getting some support from the sideways consolidation right now after that pop into the open. Went up to $3, came right back in, kind of struggling with staying above the VWAP right now.
Rivian is a cult name. I would agree with that. And it's not as big of a cult as Tesla. Brian says delayed model more than once plus layoffs equals a no-brainer short. And Dream Chaser says Rivian, this time it will be different and it will move higher.
Okay.
That's what makes the market. I love that we have back and forth opinions here. SPY trying to hold 655. It is bouncing here, but no recapture of the VWAP. We're actually still looking at negative ticks on the tick chart as well. And the breath is poor, and the regime is, or the trend is still bearish.
Regarding Rivian, so I'm looking at a daily chart, and this thing was getting some support from the 200-day SMA. And with today's news, this pulled it over the 50-day SMA, which has been a bit of a suppressing area for this stock. And most recently, earlier this month when we popped above it, held above it for a day or two, and then completely went right back down to the 200-day SMA. So I guess for me, I just want to see if this is going to actually hold above its 50-day SMA.
Good morning, Chris. Good to see you. Chris, looking at the House of Mouse. That's ticker DIS Disney. That is trading up here out of the open, recaptured 100.
And, I'm not, trying to knock the design of their vehicles or anything. I'm just looking at the company and thinking to myself, this is a lot of money they're losing. So there's something that's not happening for them, but they can turn it around. Maybe this will be a better company than Tesla, but I mean, maybe they're EVs. I don't think they're going to be doing any Optimus robots anytime soon.
Oh, I've got to post something here for the sake of Benzinga Pros. Give me a sec. I can pull up whatever chart you want in the meantime.
Well, I'm just kind of looking around. It seems like we've run into some weakness here with these movers. Maybe SER pushes to another or back up to 240 where there's a large seller in the way. Soon just hit that same high it put in earlier of 226. We're trading lower now. Duluth kind of still hovering above VWAP for the moment. And China not able to get back above its VWAP after that brief pop we had. Into it. And how low can SLV go? Well, I don't follow SLV like I follow the spot price of silver. I'll look at that in a bit. Into it is moving up on probably its reiteration of share buybacks. That's why you have a 420% rise this morning.
On which one?
4.2.
I was going to say into it, 400%. Oh, sorry, my.
4.2. I was thinking basis points. Sorry. This is trying to push over the 50-day SMA. It's been consolidating here. Looking for a move over 475.
All right. SPY is bouncing here. We actually pushed through the VWAP. No trades for me on any of the zero DTEs here. We did push through VWAP. We'll see what happens here. SER?
Yeah, this is coming up to that 240 area where that large seller is in the way. We get a good amount of volume to go through that. You might see a nice big move up beyond that 240 area. Yeah, lots of things looking weak this morning. Not the SQQQ. And that's some of these other names from days past. Some are seeing some good moves, others are not. BIAF going, that's funny. I was just looking at that one. Bioaffinity.
I can put that up again. I apologize for having to do other work on the side here.
That's all right.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Bioaffinity, maybe there's a bit of a trend line here based on some of these highs. After hours highs yesterday and pre-market highs this morning kind of give us a trend line that takes us up not too far away from where we're at. It takes us up to about 270. We'll see what happens up there. Lulu having a good morning. I think some folks mentioned that as well. Now, Retro Texas mentioning that NOW is getting a good lift here.
Software name, it's up 2.7%. It's a big rip though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Duluth is putting in some interesting candles here that indicate that it looks like it wants to go higher. Every time it's pulled beneath the VWAP here, buyers step in and pull it right back up. So we got this series of lower shadows here that kind of indicates some strength here to me. Let's see if we can recapture 275 and go higher. Looks like 280 is also a big level it needs to recapture. SCR still struggling to push higher into the 240s. Soon rejected, losing VWAP. Service now hit a high of 117.09, kind of retreating. It's interesting too because we have a high from yesterday of 117.44, so pretty close to yesterday. It must be some resistance around 117.50. Kind of looks that way too. If you look at the day before that, which was Tuesday, we were getting some support from that 117.50 for a good portion of the day before we lost it around 130. And then it became resistance. Which ticker is the spot price? I didn't mention a ticker. I was just saying that I don't follow SLV as much as I follow the spot price of silver. And there's not a ticker for that. Just go to, you can go to Kitco or any site that sells or buys gold. They'll have the spot price for you.
Okay, now SPY did come above its VWAP. The ticks are slowly improving, Trey. I see the same thing. There's still negative 600 though on that tick chart. That is up off the minus 1,000 or minus 1,100 lows that we were seeing.
Yeah, it does look like Duluth. I'm sorry, Intuit really wants to get above that 50-day SMA. This is it's not it's kind of a test, but it's like the second test that we've had this week. So the price action is kind of compressing. It looks like we could have a bull pennant on our hands here. If we do get that, then the breakout's going to take us to 500.
Okay.
Yeah, Lion, I'm kind of on that too. With the way that this is, the market's come down, I could see a bounce later on in the day that helps us maybe close not so red or possibly even pulls us back into the green.
Now, are we thinking this is kind of going to be like a reflexive bounce since we're basically testing the 200 here on the SPY? Here's the daily chart. We actually started the show by looking at this. Are we thinking that we might get kind of a reflexive bounce here? I've got that 200 at 660, so maybe that's the resistance area today.
The low I got for the SPY is 655.17. That's funny. We were just talking about how we could most certainly see a test of the or a touch of the 200. Now we just gap right beneath it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up trying to recapture that today. If we just started coming right back up. Now I realize that there's a lot less. We're anticipating a lot less volume in this market, so there could be a lot less selling volume. There might be if we do get this this reversal and comes back up towards the 200 where it's at 660. I could certainly see that happening on low volume.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was a little surprised by the volume number yesterday given the Fed, but that was just me. Anyway, this is where we're at with the SPY.
Mm-hmm.
Tick chart continuing to improve. We are at still minus 300, but that actually looks all right. Market pull or SPY pulled back right to VWAP, kind of having a battle there.
Yeah, it's SPY's got an interesting daily candle here, but we'll see how this ends up shaping up for the rest of the day. We're only like 18 minutes into the session.
Tell you what, I know there's a couple of bounce calls going on out there. The market looks like it's trying that.
What does the heat map show you? I'm going to look at it myself, but Joe Schmo pointing out that even the defense names are not having as good of a day. When you would think that they would, because we just started getting the R word keeps getting brought up, even though I think Powell indicated that stagflation's not around the corner just yet. But there's been talk of recession. So usually you see a flight to some safety names. I think we did see some of the food names, some of the defensive, like consumer staple names, do okay, but defensive names not so much. And I think part of that has to do with the run they've been on lately. Let's see here. Yeah, Lockheed down. What's RTX looking like today?
I can bring that up here too.
2.5. DFIN ETF is down almost 9%.
That means ITA is down 4.5.
Yeah. So it looks like we're coming down to the 200-day SMA for a test there. That's going to be at just under 66.
I am seeing some NVIDIA 175 calls. Now, these are for this week and next week, so these are all short term. Bounce looking good here in the SPY now, as it is pushing away from the VWAP and trading higher. Ticks trying to go positive now.
Ovid just put in a new high. Lots of sideways price action happening with the movers we're looking at today. China is still trying to get back above the VWAP. SER holding above its VWAP for the moment, but it's got a series of red candles here. Soon lost its VWAP, trying to recapture it. And Duluth might put in a move here. Just needs more volume. And we're going to
CHNR, I just don't trust it. I don't like it.
EMCB. Boop. Yeah, Buffalo Bicycle. That's something we've been saying earlier this week, is make sure you've got your shopping list ready. It's looking like we're going to get a lot of names discounted here. Just have cash ready to go for buying the things that you want to pick up for the trade or a longer term. I think for me, I'm just looking at the longer term right now.
Nice bounce there on the SPY. That is continuing to cruise higher here, 658 and change. Also, regarding that shopping list 13, to Melvin and I did a webinar earlier this week, last week, where we covered how to use the scanner and how to actually build that shopping list based on value, growth, and quality.
Fantastic. Hopefully that helped a lot of folks out.
Hope so. Palantir continuing to climb. So you guys were mentioning RGTZ earlier here, the inverse for Rigetti, which is up 9% here. There were several people trading Palantir yesterday. I know Gary from the chat was also trading Palantir. Anyone looking for PLTZ on the Palantir pop today? Just out of curiosity, this Rigetti, there's RGTZ. Actually, it looks like this might push higher.
Just information here with Palantir over the past several weeks. It looks like it's going to try and attempt to go up to 160 again. It's getting some support from the 150s. It looks like it's going to try to go over 160 again, but I still get the sense that given more time, this is coming back in some more.
Okay.
Net has held up great. That's Cloudflare, right?
Wasn't
Yeah.
Chicago Realtor, did you ask about that earlier? Did you ask? Oh, no, it was Nike. Yeah, I beg your pardon. It was Nike.
Cloudflare, it's having some great moves off this bottom area of 158, 159. But we're starting to get a little extended here. And to me, it looks like 240 might be a bit of a resistance area. And we could see some profit taking at that point. The stock would also be pretty extended up there as well. So just, no guarantee that all happens, but 240 is a standout spot here. Maybe 260 could also be it, but I also have a trend line that kind of indicates that 240 might be an area of heavy resistance.
Take gains sell signal just flashed here on SPY if you're trading that. Looks like it's kind of slowing down here. This bounce is slowing down here.
I don't know if CHNR has net liquid natural gas, Joe, but China is just, the way I'm calling this stock without using any vowels.
It was 110 to 150 on that signal on the 0DTE 660 call today. So that was actually not bad right there. Indicator working. Yesterday was just a bunch of stop outs.
Billy mentioning Data Vault's fiscal year guidance and Q4 earnings. That's DVLT.
DVLT? That's right, Data Vault. That's what you said.
Yep. And this thing is down 18%.
You know, we talked about this one in happy hour. Never liked this from the discussion that we had talked about in happy hour. Almost just seems like kind of a shady deal there.
Yeah.
Lion here saying, don't buy the junkie stocks like Beyond Meat. Didn't we have several chat members that say that's going to $30 though? Confused about that.
Yeah, I don't ever see that happening. You maybe you get a just absolutely wild short squeeze that gets you close, but there's no reason for this to be up at $30 with the current share structure and business.
I'll be okay missing that one, that's for sure. SPY trying to take the next leg higher here. And Rivian. So Brian, where are you at with the what's the plan here on the Rivian short? I don't know if you took it or not. I know you were talking about that on this pop. This is now a pop back through the VWAP there. See if it actually gets to that resistance up near 1750. Let me know what the plan is here for a potential Rivian short.
SER looks like it's going to try and take another shot at 240 here if it gets the volume. This kind of has a little bit of a setup. Still just kind of watching the movers, see what any of them do. Getting some really wild price action from that recent IPO PayPay. That's PAYP. This thing popped into the open, dropped down to 18, and then it went right back up to the where it popped up to. So getting some pretty wild price action there.
Speaking of recent IPOs, how's Swarmer doing today after the big move yesterday? SWMR there.
That's lower.
I'll tell you what, I know this kind of happened right after we got off the air yesterday, but what a rip in Swarmer. Huge shout out to the chat for being on this one. Really from the IPO, going back to Jay and Tracy from the IPO. Lots of you folks around that one.
Yeah, inside candle here today for now. Wes, you don't understand the Rivian short thesis. I mean, my whole thing on that is that they burn way too much money.
And I think you also were highlighting how we've seen investments like this in the past, like the Volkswagen $5 billion investment, and it just faded that away.
Lots of those names, those movers from this morning, looking pretty weak. Now polling soon. It's still sideways. SER, back to testing its VWAP. China just went down to the 65 EMA. Careful.
Gold getting a little bit of a bounce here. That's after the really like no bid pull that we saw in the pre-market here. Here's SLV. Anyone trading these here today? Just out of curiosity. These charts look the same. CHNR big dump.
Yeah, it just dumped. It looks like there were some buyers that stepped in and pulled it up, but we already talked about how we don't like this one. SER also losing VWAP. Looks like Soon might drop next, and Duluth. Rivian loses like 35,000 for every car they sell.
How much are the trucks? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, look at Service Now with that knife.
I took profit on gold and silver puts. There you go. Good stuff, Lion. Weren't you just telling people to buy that the other day? The 2026 Rivian R1T starts at around 71 grand. That is the most popular model. It can go up to 116 for the high performance quad version.
We're being asked what we thought about Chipotle, and
it's delicious.
The stock price. I mean, this thing had a parallel channel. It was trading into the downside for a while. We've fallen out of that channel, and now it is resistance. We lost it back in August last year. back tested it, dropped down to $30. When we started to come back up, we still tested the bottom of that parallel channel, rejected again. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw 30 prints again here, but that's about where the support is in the middle of this consolidation that goes back from 2021 to 2023.
The noob, when are you catering your next party by buying Chipotle? Because it's going to need a couple of those, it looks like. Swarmer might get halted here. 53.94 indeed halted. SWMR. It is still down nearly 2%, but it is halted to the upside here on significant volume. I had a horrible experience last week, but yesterday was delicious. I'm bullish. Oh, the noob. I absolutely love it.
Oh, look at LiDAR going today. I mean, it's up 20 cents off the low, but that was a really nice bounce off of 174, which is the low of the after hours yesterday. And this thing is putting in a little bit of a move. Maybe it finds resistance up around 2, where that consolidation from yesterday is.
Go.
Micron will close green, says Buffalo by Bicycle.
Ooh, is that a significant call today?
It's funny is we did at least call for a potential gap fill. So that could still happen. We're coming up to some resistance here, though.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say maybe 450. You see some of that resistance kick in and keep the price from going too much higher, but we'll see. I'm not making the call for green and Micron, but I'm also not going to say it's impossible. It certainly could happen.
SPY here trying to go above the recent intraday high. My indicator is flashing a buy here, and the tick looks like it might go red to green right here. SPY now 659. Interesting.
I think Jay had mentioned that Micron was looking at like a 421 support area. We got that so far. I don't know that this is, that's the bottom where we're just going to go on to make new all-time highs. He had that intraday bottom pegged for sure.
Sorry, I missed the register ring here for Lion. Anyone else? If I missed a register ring, I'm definitely slow on the rings here today. But good stuff there.
Certainly not the Lord of the Rings.
Not today. Not today. Kathy, on the fiber optic stuff here, that also trading back. Light, CN, and AAOI. AAOI had a good move out of the gate, did it not? Looks like they all did.
Is he saying Netflix week? Certainly has a red day. It hasn't been able to get above 100, and now it's struggling to stay near 95.
Which one are you looking at? Sorry,
Netflix,
NFLX.
This is coming down to. Looks like it's coming down to the 20 and 500 day SMAs are in about the same area. Maybe there's some support there, but if it doesn't get support, there's a potential gap fill from 91 down to about 86 and a half. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, Jay. I thought that you said 421. So 427. Okay. Still, you got it.
SPY here still struggling with that 659. It punched above it, but came back in a little bit. Tick is still trying to go red-green. And the S&P future is trying to break and push away to the upside from its VWAP. That actually bounced off support 1 for the day from the pivot chart.
Duluth trying to...
Bitcoin's trying to bounce. Sorry, 13.
Yeah, Duluth trying to push higher too. Pay, putting in some new session highs. China trading slightly beneath the 65 EMA. SER finding support from VWAP. Soon... looks like this might come to the 65 EMA. Duluth got some volume here. That's pulling it back up towards 3, but we're trying to get back into the above 280 right now. Seems to have been struggling with that level this morning. Oxy going to hit 60, says Buffalo.
Oops, clicked on the wrong ticker there. I can go to Oxy. CTRA, Cetera or Cortera Energy, excuse me. Big Tim Melvin pick ripping here today. Love it.
That was
I'm looking
timely.
at LNG, and then what was the other one you wanted me to Oxy? I probably took those out of order. Sorry. Here's LNG. Oh, come on. Actually, yesterday, Lion was pretty good, right? We higher in the pre-market, sold off, and then ripped. I mean, we're looking at what, a 40-point move from yesterday morning on LNG. And then Oxy was the other one you wanted to take a look at, 13?
That's the one that Buffalo had mentioned. He says it's going to hit 60. And now that we're talking about some of these gases, let me see.
It looks like it already did today.
Just going to take a quick look at my
SWMR is open. Sorry, 13.
SWMR.
Yeah, the Swarmer.
Oh, Swarmer, gotcha. Okay.
Pulled off that halt spot. And S&P, the SPY here, struggling with 659, pulling back a little bit. I've got VWAP down there at 657 and a quarter. So that would be one spot to see if it holds there. Tick is rolling back over again as well. Alpha Trade, VG. You were on this. You've been on this one for a few days, I feel like. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Venture.
This is another good move yesterday with LNG.
What do you think with SPY? Because to me, it seems like we're going to come back to test this 200-day SMA, and that's going to be at 660.07.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You mean today?
Yeah.
So okay. So first of all, 660 is the 0 DTE call that I'm looking at here today. Made a move right up to 659, pulled back a little bit here, but the indicator's still thinking about a potential buy signal. I'm almost thinking a pullback down to the VWAP and hold there might set up for your move to 660. Your spot seems dead on though.
China, this thing's still going lower. I think the 200 EMA on the 5 minutes next. Same thing with, maybe not SER. SER was starting to look weak there, but it's got some support from the 15 EMA for the moment. Now, right all the way back to the 200 EMA on the 5 minute, this thing has been putting in some pretty big moves this morning.
SER trying to hold its VWAP there. Kathy on NBIS. Let me actually refresh my platform here real quick.
661 huge resistance for SPY. You know, it's interesting because I have a 661.04 previous all-time high that was put in on September 15th. So I love marking off those all-time highs. I think that's they're very telling areas of where the sellers start to step in. So I think I tend to look at those as support and resistance levels. I like 661.
SWMR testing 55. Actually went right through it there. 56 now. SWMR, good move here. Did anyone take that on the 50 cross, SWMR? I know that's been a big winner the last couple of days.
It was pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, it sure was. All right, looking across the board here, Amazon already bounced. Oh,
wow. Kind of looks like Swarmer's trying to, it's got a bit of a trend line here from the price action yesterday. Looks like it's trying to get past that right now. See the if you look at the Swarmer's price action from the draw a trend line from the highs yesterday through the high of the pre-market.
Gotcha.
And that's where we've come up to right now.
Look at that. Perfect.
So it'd be cool if we get a break over this. Yeah, definitely a low volume day, Daniel. We've been talking about how that was kind of the expectation here following the FOMC meeting, and then you have March Madness. Volume tends to leave the market for these after these events, or after the FOMC meeting, and then the March Madness event. So that's where we're at right now. Tick
chart did go positive. And S&P futures battling at its VWAP after coming off the support from the pivot point.
SER with some volume that pulled it back up through VWAP, looking like it's coming up towards 440 again, where the large seller is.
AGRO. Kathy, were you mentioning this one earlier today, or was this yesterday? Someone mentioned this one.
Yeah, Izzy, I know I know that Netflix is weak. I've got my whole theory on where that goes. I think they have a big content problem.
Daniel, yes, I have two main brackets going this year. I've got Michigan winning in one and Arizona winning in the other.
Next is ripping, says Ed Edwards. Take a look at that next. This kind of see a bit of a trend line here, but yeah, this is looking for 8. Let's see what we got here with this.
Market's struggling to really gain more upside momentum here. Still think the SPY probably pulls to the 657 VWAP area.
I see next having a broken out of a trend line set over the past couple of days. If you have like a 5-minute chart and look at the past couple of days, you can kind of see where the highs each day kind of gave us a bit of a trend line that we just broke out of about 10 minutes ago. Swarmer still trying to push over that trend line. If it gets that, I think we see 60 plus. Looks like Duluth still holding above VWAP, trying to push higher. Volume needs to be better. Soon, still underneath VWAP. SER trying to move beyond 225. That seems to be the current resistance at the moment. China trying to recapture the 65 EMA.
Swarmer still going higher, so that's now above that trend line.
Yep. Swarmer looking for 60 here. There it is. Let's see if we can get over it. If we get, we should. I mean, this is a nice trend line, and hopefully, if we get this to resolve the way I think it's going to, we're going to see a move up probably to about 61. And if we get rejected there, I'd want to see the trend line provide support. So we'll see if we get all that here. But right now, 60 is the level it's got to get through here. Nice break for the for now. See if we can follow through.
LITE, I know Kathy was mentioning that earlier. LITE, a pretty large put sweep here, expiring April. Looks like the monthly contract. They swept up 216 contracts, spent 1.52 million. That's the light 710 put for April.
Scaramucci is buying ONDS on the dip.
Nice.
I would love to see ONDS get back above that 50-day SMA. We are getting support from the 20 right now, but I need to see a recapture of that 50. This thing has been trading in a parallel channel for a while. I don't want to see this fall out of the parallel channel. I think I showed you that, Ryan. I think it was in happy hour, but the price has been behaving really, really well, getting support from the bottom end of that channel. Need to see that hold up. We lose this channel, I think we're going to the 200 EMA. I'm sorry, day SMA.
I think I have that channel on my bigger chart here.
Okay. All right, waiting to see if we get this next move here in Duluth. Looks like it's trying to push up into the 280s.
So I don't have the channel here, but I think I have the bottom end of the channel because I have a trend line going through the lows here, and it looks like that is what we need to hold here.
Okay, so there's 61 in Swarmer, and so if we get hang out here for a second, if the next candle we get takes us back down to the trend line, we're going to want to see that that hold up. Want to see this trend line provide support.
That's right near 59.
Lion, please elaborate.
Chris Forsman, if you're still out there, Carson Wentz signed to the Vikings. Let me know your thoughts.
Next, almost at 8. Great break of the trend line here. It looks like this one could hit 8. There's some sellers in the way. If we start to come back in, we're going to, again, with the trend line, we're going to want to see that be support if it comes back in here. Now, if we lose the trend line, the next area of support that I see would be down around VWAP. That's going to be about 750. SER not able to get going here, finding resistance at the 225 area. China is still not able to recapture 65. Let's see here. Kind of
SPY coming back into its 9 EMA.
Yeah,
see if it holds that. What do you got? Sorry.
I'm just going to say, it kind of seems like the volume has really petered out a bit here, and just seems like there's more of a sideways, price action on a lot of these for the moment.
Jay kind of commenting on that wild action this morning. They sold hardware on the opening and bought software, but now they're doing the opposite.
Yeah. I wonder if they're just, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts, but I don't know if any of them are right. All right, there we go with Duluth. Popped up into the 280s. Still seeing some resistance in the higher 280s. There's a big seller in the way at about 295. But there was a little pop there with Duluth. We need to see more volume in this thing, or else it's not going to give us enough upside. Though there is a trend line that you can draw here with the price action we got this morning.
From the highs to the highs and giving us a target?
Yeah. That takes us a little bit over 3, but we're going to need to see bigger volume if we're going to get that. It really is, Ryan. This market wants some good news. It wants something to hang its hat on. It wants to feel good.
Don't forget, I have been trying to remind the group that we have a potential seasonality flip mid to late March, which is where we're at right now. Now, that might not happen today, but maybe pretty soon.
Swarmer, that candle that took us up to 61 couldn't even close above the trend line, so that's still resistance. Support probably going to be down around 53 if we don't get it here at 55.
Canadian oil and gas stocks have been ripping. What's your favorite there, Lion, or the Canadian ones? You've been on just oil in general. Our entire group has been on energy for all of 2026.
My favorite is Enbridge.
ENB. We made a nice case for that yesterday too.
Yep. Yeah, Enbridge has a facility that they provide some gases for SpaceX because they're nearby. So they kind of enter the arena a little bit as a propellant supplier for SpaceX.
And having a facility close to SpaceX makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah, the Air Liquide has a facility nearby. Gosh, there's some other ones too.
Here, I got the list.
Lind has a facility nearby. Now, there's some other companies that I don't know how close in proximity their facilities are, but they still provide like liquid oxygen and cryogenic fluids like nitrogen.
I just threw those tickers in the chat from yesterday.
Yeah, those are all the publicly traded ones I could find that have some angle with providing SpaceX with propellants, whether they be liquid oxygen or methane or nitrogen or any of the different propellants and cryogenic fluids they use in the operation of Starship.
Selena, like CNQ and ENB2 have held these for a long time. Good stuff, Selena. We're in good company then. And Lion, I figured you meant that the stocks were ripping, not your socks are ripping. That's an entirely different problem. So I figured that one out on my own, thankfully.
So those are his.
So I'm at a stage really quickly, just regarding Lion's accidental comment there. I'm at a stage of my life where if there's a hole in the sock, that thing goes straight to the garbage can. Like, it is one of the more annoying things in the world to have a hole in the sock.
Do you like to just rip it open and then throw it away?
I don't do any. I don't have time for any of that. I'm just like, okay, this one's gone, and then I keep like a little pile of like outlier socks, like the one, and then eventually when I keep going through more pairs, I consolidate them. It's just, that's the way to do it. Just thought I'd let you know there, Lion. Netflix week now. Izzy was looking for some levels on Netflix. Izzy, are you looking for those downside levels to play for a bounce on Netflix?
By the way, since we're talking Netflix and they do movies, hearing a lot of positive things about Project Hail Mary from people that review it. I heard a lot of positive things about it from critics, now viewers. So that might be a movie that's worth your money.
Is it going to be enough to save anything, or might it just be worth the money to see it?
I don't know about saving anything.
Yeah.
But
I know I asked the tough question there.
Because this is a movie that's made by my understanding is MGM and Amazon Studios. So it's going to be in theaters, but I don't think it's going to save AMC. Is the way I was going to approach your question. Because Amazon's not in trouble. I don't necessarily think it's saving anything, but it might represent a model of how to do a movie good in this time where they're being geared more towards modern audiences, which I don't think is the right move. So we'll see how it reshapes the public realm of opinion on films.
Okay.
ITA Aerospace ETF week down 3%. Yeah, a lot of the military names were down this morning too. Yeah.
Lol, Joe. And Matthew, Matthew, for a long-term trader being down 7% this month, stay the course, man. If you're a long-term trader, I'm assuming you have a long-term thesis on the stocks that you hold. Stay the course. SPY came back into VWAP.
So Swarmer, we're all the way back down to VWAP now after hitting 61. That trend line is a big area of resistance. I'm not taking it off the table for a breakout today. I think the more this gets hammered, more likely that the next visit takes it out. So I'm keeping this trend line on here. We'll see if what happens later on in the day. Rejected here in the morning.
And then Izzy, I would say 90 to 91.5 should be a decent next level for Netflix. And then after that, I'm almost thinking 87, which was a gap and then resistance area on the way down. So I don't know what levels you were looking at, but that's what I have there. Tyler, that's the dude with the Wall Street Bets avatar. Sound, is there a low it will bounce from? SOUN, Soundhound. I'll tell you what, this is at a possible support area right now. I don't know that it's necessarily going to bounce here. I would think next is probably 5. So you're at what, 6? Let's call it 650-ish. This area right in here, 650, 675. I would say next it's probably 5. I can't tell you for certain if it's going to bounce here, though, my man.
Well, then let the fib do it for you, because I think the fib agrees with your assessment of 5.
Any particular place you want me to draw this from? I'm just going to.
I started from the very beginning, back in 2022. And I drew it and I expanded it to go all the way down to the low of what it was, like 70 something cents or 90 something cents, something down there. It was under $1.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't have as much data on there. So you have a much bigger look back on that.
Yeah, I've here.
Yeah, can you throw that in happy hour and I'll bring it up on the screen? That would be awesome.
I will do
Ryan, I'm still in COP. Not sure if you're still in it. No, we've talked about that a few times. I was in calls for that expired in February, so I had to close that prior to expiry. But that was a gain. That was a good trade. That was out in 2 parts too. That was out at like 112%, and then I think like 120%. So that was actually a good one. But no, if you had held it for the long term, you probably had even more on that.
There's
Top CVX XOM.
There's a chart for you.
Got it. Well, I'm trying to get it.
Meanwhile, I'm going to look at some of these other names. Looks like Soon tried to recapture VWAP. Yeah.
So this 13. Yes. Okay. Tyler, I'm going to think here. If it doesn't hold right in here, and I would say 650 on a possible overshoot of the recent support area, I would say 650 and 5. Very, very clearly your next areas here for SOUN. Good chart, 13.
You got it. Duluth still hanging out here in the 280s. Looks like it wants to get back over 295 now, but there's a seller in the way. SER still trying to push up to the 225 area and take that out.
Izzy, thanks. Let me ask you, Izzy. I mean, you've been more active in Netflix. What's your thought here? Do you think the next tradable move is maybe more downside, or do you think you're looking for a bounce? What are you looking at, Izzy, on your levels there?
Yeah, it can be tough, Fairchild, but you know what? You've been at this for a while, and I think you're going to do just fine. It's when it comes to days like this, if nothing works, I'll just sit on my hands and wait for tomorrow and see what it gives me. And we've anticipated that we were going to see some lower volume for the remainder of the week, so it might just be even better idea to just give yourself the rest of the week off from trading, and then come back renewed next week when we should see some better volume.
Or continue on your research. Go through your shopping list and continue on your research for the stocks that you're kind of waiting out. Because I mean, like right now, SPY's rolling back over. So we had talked earlier at the beginning of the show of, well, what's actually going to happen here at the 200, right? Like, might we see a reflexive bounce? I know Lion was on a reflexive bounce. It makes sense, especially from the 200. But what are we going to recapture this? Are we going to back test it and maybe pave the way to go lower? Let the market figure out what it's going to do. And in the meantime, you can be prepared for what you're looking to add here. Is it some of the memory names that you want to add back? Is it something like NVIDIA if that gets pulled down? Is it something else? Take care of yourself, Judge.
Yeah, so Crimp Biscuit, 810 Warhogs have entered the theater in Iran. I love those aircraft.
Oh, the sound, so man, the sound.
Oh, yeah, I understand what it's a Vulcan. I know this. Why can't I think of it? But I know what you're talking about. It's the Gatling gun that they have in there. That Vulcan. I want to say it's like a 20 millimeter. That thing is just awesome.
So here's the Netflix chart. Lion says, I think it will bounce. Where do you think it will bounce from? Are we bouncing at the bottom of this gap? Are we going to fill the gap and bounce? Maybe a moving average?
Look at the price action in Swarmer. We got a test down at the VWAP. It got support, turned around, and gave a little bit of a trade there. Not able to get back up to the trend line yet, but that was a nice little rebound of a trade that took us up to a little bit more than 55.50.
It's a 30 millimeter Gatling gun, by the way.
Sorry, 30.
You're right. No, you don't have to be sorry, but that's the iconic noise from the war.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's remember that Talkin' Maverick video I showed you, where the guy, the sound engineer, during the dogfight scene, he redid all the aircraft sounds to make them sound more realistic. So he put in the gun in there, the actual, and made it so it didn't sound like a P-50, which is ridiculous. It was just a fantastic use of sound engineering, and it's kind of silly to me that that movie even won sound design, because it was just such a god awful experience with sound, hearing that dogfight.
Tell us what you really feel, 13.
It was a great movie, but they absolutely botched that dogfight sequence with the sound.
Ondas 15 puts. I wonder if that's I wonder what they're doing with that. Are they closing that trade off? We'll see.
In position right now, lots of things. There were some pretty decent, bounce and reversal trades, but they didn't last very long.
No, they didn't, including the one on the SPY, right? So that lasted a good chunk of the morning here, but we rolled over pretty quick, gave up the VWAP. Sure looks like we're going to retest those SPY lows.
You're right, Crim Biscuit. The underbelly, that's what they're designed to do, is to be close air support and absolutely take a hammering if fired upon. And yes, those underbellies, God, what are they like, stacked with titanium? It's like immensely reinforced. And they are absolutely designed to just absolutely take massive amounts of fire and still go. That's why they've been in service for like Was it like 70 plus years, I think, at this stage, isn't it? Like 73 years, something like that. I can't think of the exact date that they came out, but it's been around for a while. Fantastic aircraft.
SPY continuing to roll back over here. Continuing. And then also, so Bitcoin also rolling over to the lows. We talked about that being risk on versus risk off. Certainly looks like risk off today. VIX is also creeping higher here, 26.5. So we'll see where this settles out. We'll see if the market just kind of flatlines or if we actually get some low volume moves in the afternoon. 13, that's going to do it here for us today. Again, really good stuff. I know market's kind of been, kind of not been, why is it like this?
I don't know.
It was an accident. Market has not been great recently, but this too shall pass. Better times are ahead, no doubt. 13, any closing words for the group?
We anticipated there'd be some weakness, in the market. This was looking that way. Micron helped accelerate that to the downside. This is something we talked about for a while. So hopefully folks were, lightening their positions, getting themselves ready for the shopping that I think is things are going to be on sale. So I think that we're going to have a great time pointing out those names that we'll be picking up once the selling stops. For now, folks, make sure you hang on to your capital. Don't get yourself trapped in any trades because we want to make sure that we are able to take those longer term, bigger trades. And we want to have that money ready to go. So until we get some stability in the market, folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care until then. Goodbye.
All right, 13, really good stuff. Again, as always, we'll see you tomorrow. And actually join us tomorrow because we're going to have Mark Petrino on. We're also going to have Anne Marie on, so we should be able to cover all of those bases. Folks, have a good rest of your Thursday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. May your brackets pay you. Have a good one. We will see you again.